Fala galera, tô aqui hoje com o jogo The Stanley Parable, a parábola de Stanley. E é um jogo que você tem que fazer escolhas aí, que o narrador vai contando a história e você escolhe se vai seguir o que ele tá falando ou não. E aí você que vai, como é que eu digo, você que vai fazer o final do seu personagem, você que vai fazer o final do Stanley. A galera tá comentando bastante do jogo, falando que é legal tudo, que você não sabe que rumo vai tomar, alguma coisa assim, qual escolha fazer. Então eu resolvi baixar e trazer a gameplay dele pro canal. Vamos ver aí inicial. Ó, em português aí pra vocês.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Tá, começou. Ele levantou de sua mesa e saiu. Pronto.
All of his
Nossa, tá muito sensível, pera aí.
Gone. What could it mean?
Melhorou um pouco.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Stanley
room.
decidiu ir à sala de
Perhaps he had simply
reuniões.
missed a memo.
Não dá pra
No matter
clicar.
how hard
Não
Stanley
importa.
looked,
Ó,
he
aí, ó.
couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ele não foi pra lá logo, aí ele tá falando. Não tem nada. Ó, desliguei aqui.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Muito foda esse narrador. Desliguei. Não liga. Não dá pra fazer muita coisa não no jogo. Não abre. Abriu pro outro lado. Não abre. Não abre. Não abre nada. Não abre. Não abre. Não abre. Aqui fecha.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Entrou na porta à sua esquerda. Eu vou seguir ele um pouco. Aqui abre. Aqui não abre. Aqui não abre. Não abre.
Yet there was not a single
Mesmo
person
assim-
here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ele te mandou ir pra sala do meu chefe. Ah, aqui abriu.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Certeza que não tem nada aqui? É, tem não. Fecha a porta aí, você é educado.
Coming to a staircase,
Chega na
Stanley walked
escadaria.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Vou pra baixo. Não abre. Vixe, velho, escuro. Mas vamos lá.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed
Clique em nada.
everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself,
Tô
maybe
tentando
I
clicar em
am
tudo aqui,
crazy.
mas
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
que
And for
foda.
that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation.
Oxi,
His co-workers
Mesma
were
porta.
actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring
porra é
real-life
essa?
job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then
Eu tô
he
voando,
imagined
véi.
himself soaring through space on a magical starfield.
Oxi.
And it too appeared.
Que
It
merda.
was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my
foda, eu tô só
head
voltando no mesmo
dictating
canto.
everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Puta que pariu, mesmo
Now,
canto
hearing the
direto.
voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him
Ah, tá de
float and make the
sacanagem já.
magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
Oxi.
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
É foda esse
the
jogo,
fresh
velho.
air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My
Que
life
foda.
is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Que foda, velho. Uma decisão. E ele voltou no mesmo canto.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss, I have an office. I am real. Please, just
tá
someone
ficando tudo
tell me I'm
vermelho.
real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything
Caralho.
went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Puta que pariu.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring
Puta
down
que
at the
merda.
body. And then she turned and ran.
Esse narrador é foda, viu? Não entendi porra nenhuma, não entendi nada. E voltei do começo do jogo de novo. Vamos lá, vou tomar outras escolhas agora.
And perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after.
Ó, outra história já.
He hoped that he would one day see weather.
Nada abre ainda. Faz um download aí. Vou entrar na porta da...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door.
Vou entrar na da direita
This
agora.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Não abre.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
Não
lounge
abre.
first, just to
Não
admire it.
abre. Não abre. Não abre. Não abre. Não abre. Tá aberto?
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Primeira porta aberta. Eu vou variar um pouquinho, eu vou entrar aqui.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Oxi. Sei nem se eu fiz o que ele mandou, não prestei atenção. Porra, esse jogo é muita escolha pra fazer, velho.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no,
Filho
it's
da
to the right,
pu-
my mistake. No,
Filho-
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's
Que
see,
filho da
you went
puta,
down,
velho.
Right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
E agora, fresco?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I
Que
kidding?
viado, velho.
It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste
Caralho, é o
our time
Matrix.
trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Filho da puta, velho. De novo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Eu não vou seguir ele. Vou entrar na porta da direita.
When Stanley...
Oxi.
Wait, what? No,
Que porra é
I
essa?
restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Well, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere?
Nossa, velho, esse jogo é muita...
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Vou pra onde, velho, agora? Eu tô muito... Quanta sala, velho. Perdido. Tô perdido. Putz, eu não sabia.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you.
Eu também.
There definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
De novo, velho.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Agora tá desligado aqui, ó. Cadê as portas?
Okay, yeah, it's worse.
Que filho da...
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just...
Já tô irado, velho, com esse
Why
narrador.
don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Não, agora mudou. Só falta ter mudado.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
Ah, tá.
No, wait. Never
Que
mind.
put-
Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Que puto, velho. Puta que pariu. Uma escolha que eu tomei levou a tudo isso aqui.
Now this...
Uma.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were
Tem mais pra
supposed
onde
to
eu
be
ir.
doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Yes!
I know you
E a
put in
porta
a
aqui
lot of hard
sumiu.
work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Ah, vá. De novo. Agora ele marcou o chão.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed
Linha de
the help
aventura
of the
da
Stanley
parábola de
Parable
Stanley.
Adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ah, e agora essa porta tá aberta. Eu vou seguir ele agora, velho. Vou sou louco não. Deixa eu só testar as portas aqui. É, como sempre não abre. Tô louco com esse jogo já.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story?
Porque naquela hora eu fui pra...
Simply by the act of
tá.
moving forward, are we implying a journey
Agora ele botou
such
as
that a
caixas.
destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this
Tô indo
train of
devagar
thought
porque eu tô
for a
lento,
minute.
tá,
Just
pessoal?
stick with me. Now we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience
Fecha aí, meu
of
filho.
that existence, right? Okay, Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Pronto. Esse jogo é foda pra caralho. Nossa, ele tá conseguindo me manipular, velho.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Tem nada aqui, velho. Nossa, o cara aqui sabe.
We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable,
Porra, é aquele
right?
escritório.
Is any of this ringing a bell?
Vou continuar seguindo a porra dessa linha. Ah, agora sim.
No, not again, Line.
Puta
How
que
could
pariu,
you have done this
velho.
to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... No, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Tá de brinks já.